Okay, we are up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Intuit Data Classification Challenge. We will start in a few seconds.
Right, I think we're good to start. People might continue to join us, but I'll kick it off. Hello, everyone. My name is Aviv. I am one half of a team called Intuit for Startups, and we are very happy to have you guys here with us today. I'm gonna walk us through the deck and the agenda for today. We'll do a quick introduction of Intuit and Intuit for Startups. Then talk about why Intuit has invested so much engineering hours and effort into this challenge and why it's a mission critical challenge for us. We'll talk about eligibility and fit criteria, the timeline, and then I'll hand it over to Elad, who will go through classification examples, how we do the scoring, guidelines, and a tech overview, and then it goes back to me. I do the fun part, the reward, and we'll open it up to all of you for a Q&A. So I'm going to start. So many of you are probably familiar with Intuit, global fintech company, Fortune 500. Many of you have probably used some of our products like TurboTax or Credit Karma, and most likely seen ads for our products as well, such as QuickBooks and Mailchimp. Now, Intuit is a 41-year young startup, and we have over 100 million customers who trust us with our data, and trust is the operative word for this challenge and throughout this presentation. Our team, Intuit for Startups, as Intuit is a 41-year young startup, we like to work with slightly younger startups as well. And our team scouts startups for partnerships, investments together with Intuit Ventures. We do A+ rounds, follow-ons, and potential acquisitions. And we also partner with teams inside of Intuit on specific tech-driven challenges, which is what brings us here today. These challenges, we work hand to hand with tech teams to really dive into specific opportunities, specific challenges, and dive a little deeper into technological challenges we face. So why is Intuit investing in the challenge? So there are different platforms that users could use to file their tax return, right? Let's go with TurboTax, for example. When they choose TurboTax, yes, okay, we know they want the best and highest tax return, but what's also important, and perhaps I would venture most important, is that if they're giving us that information, their most sensitive data, they want to trust that whoever they give their data to will protect that data. So if you think about yourself, you probably have a name, a birthday, a social security number, but also credit card information, an address. If every one of our users only had 5 records, being that we have over 100 million users, that's over 500 million records. And truthfully, our users have way more than 5 records. So many users have more than just 5 credit cards. So we're protecting a lot more records than that. And keep in mind that when we say the most sensitive data, depending on your age, our users are trusting us with also their children's information in their tax returns, their name, their social security number, where they go, if it's a private school to private school. So trust is the foundation for everything we do here at Intuit. So if we say we have more than 500 million records, and our users choose Intuit because when they think of us, they think of trust, bad actors think of endless opportunities. And now with Gen AI, there are good and bad opportunities. Bad actors are using Gen AI to try to penetrate, to try to do whatever bad actors do. And of course, we at Intuit built Intuit Assist and our own LLMs to do good and for the good of our users, and to help them get the most out of their data and that trust. Like I said, trust is the foundation of everything we do here, and that is based on protecting data. So that is why for us at Intuit, continuing to invest in technology that will classify and protect our users' data is a strategic priority. So going into eligibility and fit criteria, the company has to be incorporated either here or in Israel. It's important for me to also say that the official rules are on the website and application form for the challenge itself. You can see all of this in great detail and in legalese. Your main line of business has to be a tech-based data classification solution. It doesn't have to only be data classification solution. It can be part of the technology you're building, but it has to be a tech-based solution. And of course, you need to apply by August 15th. With regards to fit, we're looking for the best tech and also a solution that can support the massive scale of Intuit's data and users. Challenge timeline. As you probably noticed, we're here in the webinar, so that's where we're kicking things off. Applications are due on August 15th. By the 26th, you'll be told if you were accepted or not. Those participants will receive a training data set to run their models on September 4th. And then the live challenge, where you have 20 minutes to to classify, 20,000 plus records, will be on September 18th. And you will be informed, and the winner will be announced in early October. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Elad, who will walk you through a classification example.
Hi, so happy to share with you some of the expectation of what we have for this challenge. So I'm Elad. I'm leading the data protection group within Intuit, and I want to share with you through an example of what we expect to be done through this challenge. So in front of you, what you see is an example of a text that you might get as a single record, and we want to identify elements and interesting elements within this text. So for example, here's the person name. You can see that Julie and Ben appears twice. So we'd like to identify names. SSN. So there is 2 SSN in this text. You can notice that the formats are different. The one with spaces and the other not. In addition, there is date of birth here. Again, you can see the patterns and the way that the date is written is different. We want to identify those as well. And last, medical condition, type 1 diabetes. So what you see in front of you is what we would expect your algorithms to change and identify. Once you identify all those elements, this will be the answer or the structure of the answer that we expect. You have the structure will be composed of 2 parts. The first part is the text, the original text that you were given. And the second part will be the detections. The detection will be a list of all the things that you found. Each detection will contain value, for example, Judy, the start index, and the index, and the label, in this case, person. Here is a complete solution for the above sentence, and I will leave it as reference once we share this presentation. So how is the scoring going to be? So we're going to identify and count how many correct matches you have. Each entity will be evaluated separately, which means we'll have an understanding about how well is your SSN classifier works, how well is your name, medical condition, and so on. For each one of those, we'll have a score. Besides that, we also take into account partial correct matches. What does that mean? So a simple example might be, imagine a 16-digit credit card, and you identified only the first 8 digits. In this case, and you identified it correctly as credit card, but only for the first 8. So in this case, we'll count it as half a point that is correct and half a point which was missed. The overall performance will be a weighted average of each of the data elements that we have. In front of you in this table, you can see an example of some. This is not a comprehensive example. The comprehensive example of all the data types and their weights will be available on the microsite. But just an example, one of the higher weights are medical condition, password recovery questions, financial institution usernames, driver license. On the lower, on the 30% is CVVs, username, passwords, and so on. You can see that we're searching a wide variety of different elements within the text. Again, the complete list, this is a sample list. A complete list will be available on the microsite. So some understanding on the guidelines on what you should expect from this challenge. The vast majority of the data will be free text, but some of it will be also JSON. It's not enough only to identify a value. We also want to make sure that the value is valid. For example, we expect that credit cards will pass loan check. SSN cannot start with the digit 9. There are many validation for different elements, and we trust you to do your best to identify what are the correct validation for each element. It could be that you reach to a case where a single value might be appropriate for multiple different types. We trust you to choose the one that you have the highest confidence that this is what it is. There is no simple solution here. This is part of the challenge. Multiple languages, again, the vast majority of the data will be in English, some in Spanish, and some in Portuguese. And if you see something that is not clear to you, have any question, please reach out and send a question to intuit4startups@intuit.com, and we will answer all your questions, even if you have questions at a later point. Some technical overview of how it's going to be managed. So we are going to leverage Google Drive. So the first one is the training and the challenge data will be shared through Google Drive. Each participant will have an email, and we'll give them permissions to get this data. The training data will contain about 20,000 records, which will be text with label entities in a very or in exact way as I shared earlier with the text and the detection. It will be a JSON-L text, which means a list of JSONs. The challenge data will be at the same size, roughly at the same size, again, about 20,000 records. It will be text without labels, again, in a very similar way as I shared earlier, only without the detection part. And it will be a JSON-L. The solution will be uploaded to Google Drive, location per participant, which means each participant will have a dedicated folder, and they will load their solution to that folder. We will give them specific permission for that folder on. The challenge will take, as Aviv mentioned, the challenge will be 20 minutes, where we, at the same time, where you have the chance to classify and upload all your solution during that time. And of course, we'll have technical team on Zoom to help in case there is any issues with permission or anything else that is missing or not working. We'll be there to assist to make sure that everything goes up smoothly. And I'm happy, Aviv, to share it back to you.
Okay, so the reward. I want to focus on what the reward is and not what it isn't, an RFI or an RFP. What it is really a giant pair of scissors, kind of like in the cartoons, and it's a giant pair of scissors to cut through red tape. You can ask your sales team, how many people do they need to usually meet in order to meet a senior executive? This is a unique opportunity to get to meet directly with senior Intuit executives, present to them directly your solution, and build the foundation of a relationship with Intuit. So that's, I would say, one key value driver. And the second one is you will receive completely objective public recognition from a serious tech company and we talked about the scale of data that we classify and protect, saying that we assessed you against your peers and you are the market leader. I will say that we won't name the peers. We're only naming the winners. So we're not going to list everyone. But what's, I think, the key value drivers here is, of course, the relationship with Intuit and also publicly recognized by an objective third party, the value of your technology. So let's move on to the Q&A section. I'll start with a question that was submitted, and then feel free to ask questions in the Q&A section here, or raise your hand. Elad, this question is for you. Can we use the internet during the contest, or use ML libraries for the contest?
Yes. The simple answer, yes. You can use ML libraries, obviously, and the internet, which might mean many things. We'll only ask you to disclose if you use any third parties outside of your own built-in solutions.
We were asked, is this strictly for US and Israeli startups? Can Canadian startups also participate? So this is only for companies registered in the US or Israel. So apologies. We were also asked, oh, they're coming in. This is for you, Elad, I believe. Will the input JSONs will be full or complete so it can be loaded, or partial excerpts?
If I understood the question correctly, that the JSON will be a full valid JSON that you can use any JSON parser to read it. So yeah.
If you asked that question and that wasn't your question, feel free to raise your hand, just clarify, and we'll let you speak. Okay. How will Intuit test scale given the size of data you need to protect, store versus test Sandbox and Google Drive?
So I can give a part of this answer. In this challenge, we will not test how fast or what is the performance for classifying each record. This is something that we care about, and if it will be relevant, we can talk about it past this challenge.
So maybe I can add to this. Sorry, the main scoring criteria for this challenge is accuracy. So for this challenge, our focus is how accurate, what's the best solution to get the most accurate answer. It is not what is the fastest solution. So this is not to focus on speed. We absolutely want to focus on speed, but that would be a secondary objective for us to evaluate with the solutions that give the most correct and accurate answer.
Does the data only contain full text data or also document data?
I'm not sure I understood the question.
I think the question is whether this is going to be just strings in a JSON or if it's going to be documents. And the answer is it's going to be just the string and text, and there will be no documents. Yeah. If it's not your question, again, please feel free to just speak up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Will there be any images in the data? I think that's similar to the documents, but I see Racheli saying no. Okay. Sorry if I missed this earlier. The evaluation metric is specifically accuracy or also precision / recall, etc.
It's include precision and recall. Yes, that will be the main criteria: the precision and recall of the label data.
We were asked, can we add accuracy metrics to the result?
So I'm assuming you mean for the challenge, and no, we're not adding that to the challenge data.
Sorry, I think they meant confidence metrics.
You
We
sure
have no. Sorry, Raheli, you want to answer?
confidence, you said you do want confidence in your results for each no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Confidence, yeah. So we don't use the confidence metrics. It will not hurt, but we will not use it for the scoring.
Can you say more about the amount of data being classified in the sandbox versus speed to test the scalability of each solution?
Yeah, so I'll try to clarify, as Dulab mentioned earlier, we are not measuring the speed in this case. We are measuring precision and recall of the classification. And the only limitation that you have is within 20 minutes to return an answer for the challenge data.
Do we have fixed sets of labels?
Yes, you will have a fixed set of labels that you will know about in advance. We will share it also in the microsite. And you know what we're searching for, the exact label, the names, all that you will know in advance.
And I'll add to that, Elad, that when you apply to the challenge, also you need to apply to the challenge. That's also a requirement. The winning company needs to apply first. That's always a rule for winning a challenge. When you apply to the challenge, we do have a list of the data that we are looking to identify. So you will have this list when you apply to the challenge. You will know exactly what we are looking for.
Does the 20 minutes include the deployment and integration of the vendor solution into the Intuit G drive that's holding the test data?
So yeah, the 20 minutes include downloading the challenge data, and after running it, uploading it into the Google Drive. If there will be any technical issues during that time, we will be on Zoom to help and support if something is not working as expected. But it should not be long, those downloading and uploading these values.
Yeah, you have 20 minutes to download it from place A, run whatever models, solutions, SDKs, libraries, development tools, capabilities that you have, and upload the answers to your output folder. You have 20 minutes to do this. That's all there is. Like, we will not be deploying anything, integrating anything.
We were asked how big is, I'm assuming, your test data set?
So just to keep me accurate, the training data will be about 20,000 records. And the data that we will use to the challenge will be roughly at the same size, also about 20,000 records.
Not a question, but helpful comment for everyone. In the chat, I sent the link to the application. It's also on the microsite, like Patricia mentioned, and you can find it through the LinkedIn ads you might have seen or emails. Okay. Any other questions?
I'd like to make a comment. I think one thing to emphasize is that you have to think of that if a bad actor gets his hand on the data, can he notice, can he tell that this is a credit card? Can he tell that this is a bank account? If he can tell that, then it needs to be identified and masked. So it's important to say it because the data that you will get is something that was is based on data that was created by people, by human beings. They have sometimes a mix that they use different styles, like Elad showed. Sometimes a space comes in, even though it's not in the like something that a regular expression would catch. But sometimes typos happen. So the thing is that if a bad actor can identify what it is, then it needs to be detected and classified.
Thank you, Racheli. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to your applications. And if you think of a question later on, you can contact us at the email address Intuit for startups at intuit.com. It's on the microsite. And yeah, looking forward to the challenge. Thank you for your time.
And good luck, everybody.
Good day.